Welcome back. This is WUB, Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and I'm honored to be with my brother, Richard Dickie Bradley, attorney at law, who normally comes in, you know, when we want to dissect something that's going on in the community. My brother is an all-around thinking, critical thinker in Belize, and so many topics that we try to unpack and try to give guidance on, we would usually invite our brother to be here. So he's no stranger. He's already an established media person, and I mean that very sincerely. He's played a major role in the modernization of media in Belize, and he continues to play an important communicative role, especially on issues regarding the law. So we've asked him this morning.
Morning.
Welcome, my brother.
Morning, Tom.
I get so used to you being here.
Yes,
I didn't want to get too formal with you, you know. Dickie, I want us to use most of this morning to look at the 13th Amendment, specifically the white paper that has been published by the Attorney General justifying why we need these amendments. And we'll open the phone lines at the latter part of the program so that we could engage the public in the conversation. But let's start with the Attorney General is saying that these amendments are necessary for a number of areas. One, he speaks about the anomaly of a decision being given by two judges that were opposite to each other, and that this is an attempt to correct that so that it does not happen again. He is also justifying a retroactive approach to mistakes that may have been made in the past with SOEs that have made the government vulnerable, and that this piece of legislation supposedly is to put a block to that so that no one can go backward and try to sue the government on the basis of it. He's also tried to justify that the court is taken up with too much of a particular kind of case, meaning gun and gang cases, and so this is to provide a particular area for that. And there are a couple of other areas, but I don't want to go through all of his statement, as we will try to unpack those that I have named. So what Attorney General Anthony Sylvester has done with the white paper is to take it and try to unpack it, to use media words, for the public to understand and to justify why government had to come up with this 13th Amendment. I know that you have your own opinion because you've expressed this on our show on several occasions, but of recent you have become a part of a group of attorneys that have also responded to it. So let's start there.
Okay, well, thanks for the invitation this morning, and good morning to your viewers and listeners. The 13th Amendment to the Constitution of Belize has to do with the freedom of everyone. The amendment is a proposal, and it seeks to amend none other than the highest law in the country, our Constitution. And the Constitution of Belize is a wonderful document. Like any other important law, it has to remain dynamic, meaning that it's not stuck in a particular time frame, or what has happened has happened. It is dynamic because the Constitution itself says you can amend me, and this is the procedure. You can improve me, this is the procedure. Now, the Constitution of Belize, sadly, is not known to the people of Belize. It is not understood by the people of Belize. And so that makes it vulnerable and weak, especially because in Belize, this most important document is the document that creates the institutions that run the nation. Or if you want to be cynical, like some persons are, including the I, can say the institutions that help ruin rather than run the country. Now, our system of government comes from the British system of government. So the institutions are patterned after their institutions, but their institutions is grounded into other matters, including the fact that their parliament, we don't use that word here. George Price wanted us to use National Assembly because back in the 70s, many, and the 60s, 1960s, 1960s, many nations were fighting against the British and other European nations to gain their independence. These European countries had succeeded in becoming more powerful and so started to literally, physically, with their armies and guns, take over other nations. In fact, they even fight with one another. Spain against Britain, Portugal, the whole Catalan, for tech countries. And this is why Cuba speaks Spanish, because they were held on to by the Spaniards, by Spain. This is why some places are called the British Virgin Islands, and you got even America got in there, although at that time America was not the powerhouse that it has become. So you have that mix. So their constitution is not like our constitution. They don't actually have one document where all your rights and all your institutions are put in place and protected. It is built on the fact that there was England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, 4 kingdoms fighting with each other to maintain their power and position. Eventually, they became the United Kingdom. All of them agreed to be one big nation. In America, I should tell you, they started off as 13 little colonies and eventually became 50 states that all agreed to be one nation. So then I'm just saying that how our constitution reflects certain matters. However, it is the most important law, and it is the supreme law of the land. What is in that document? I can't go into all of it, but let me just tell you that Chapter 2 of the Constitution of Belize lists down all our fundamental rights. It says that it guarantees the people of Belize all those fundamental rights. And those fundamental rights are rights which are now universally accepted by every democratic country, by every nation that wants to be civilized, want to progress, and don't want to be oppressing its people. Your right to speak. Nuri and I come here at this radio station not afraid that as soon as we finish and go out there, we're under arrest for saying things we should not have said, or for criticizing the government, or criticizing the police or the army. We can speak freely because the supreme law says we have a right to our freedom of expression. The only thing that prevents us from saying everything we want is you can't libel, you can't defame, you can't slander the character of another person or persons. That's the only thing. And persons who say are in the public service can't talk out confidential matters publicly. They should do what is done in other countries, leak it out. Belize does not have a whistleblower's law, for example. So we have to know how to blow a whistle. We have to know how to blow a whistle. So then, to Nuri's question, the situation is this. The Constitution of Belize guarantees us our freedom. We can get up in the morning and go anywhere we want. In fact, when we get up, if you don't want to go no way, that's quite all right. That's your legal, lawful, constitutional right. You can go anywhere in the country, free from the agents of the country stopping you, wanting to search you without any reasonable grounds, wanting to carry you to the station and give you a 24 hours lockdown or a 48 hours. That is not the law. You are protected by the Constitution. So the Constitution, in protecting all the rights we have, the right to our privacy, the right to our liberty, the right to expression, the right to join unions, the right not to join unions, all these rights are embedded in your Constitution. In the Constitution, it recognizes that there are going to be unusual circumstances. So Section 19 deals with this issue that if there is an earthquake, a hurricane, some major disruption, war, insurgency, people are looking to overthrow the government by violent means, and Belize needs one of those, yeah, the young generation. If those things are happening and there is a crisis, and we can't live, we can't go to the shop, go buy water because the shop is closed because everybody afraid for the war or the hurricane, that thing broke up and so on. If you have those kinds of emergencies, the Constitution says that there is provision as to how you deal with that. So now what has happened in 2018, the then government, or shitting government, refusing to take the large amount of monies that they had gotten from the Petro-Carib. I think Honorable Senor said in opposition that it was like $600 million. We were still exporting oil that was found in Spanish Lookout. Not a large amount, but enough if money come in. And there were other revenue streams that were available, but it was not used to deal with a problem that we have, especially in Belize City, where this is the home of the Creoles. Our great-grandfathers and grandmothers were slaves, so we have just barely come out of slavery, and then we were taken over by the colonial powers, who were the same slave masters, and used the country to suck out all the alligator skin, all the turtle thing, all the mahogany, and so on. So, I'm mixing history with a little bit of law. So they did not tackle or did not have any intention to tackle the social and economic problems that have besetted us. I am a child of the south side of Belize City. My mom was very, very poor. She did two works. She worked at the hospital as the X-ray technician, and she worked at James Brody's. We poor, we never know we poor. I never know we poor until like halfway through college. I just took it for granted when time I go home. Well, you get beans and you get bread and you're lucky you could fill your belly. We never even know we poor. The only time I caught a little glimpse was when I was in Scout. I said no call no name. So, but there was a young man in Scout with me. His parents had a shop on Canal Side, and he wore these some expensive looking boots. Later on I learned it was from Chetomal next door and not that expensive, but there's no way I could wear boots like that. In fact, many times I go to Martinique, it was only 10 cents during the week and 15 cents on Sunday, but where I get 15 cents from? So I'm saying that to you because then I grew up in poverty, and all of we grew up in poverty, and we didn't think there was a big thing about it. We not the thief nobody bicycle. We're not going to go rob nobody. We can't carry home anybody ruler or anything from school. You can't lash you and make you carry it back. We had discipline, poor but discipline. And we had religion. There were Muslims in this country from way, way back, and there were Christians. And we had a religion. And we were taught that you have a thing called conscience. So you could do wrong, but nobody don't know because you do it in kind of way. All those things are gone. There is no discipline. There is no moral. In fact, sad to say, there is no vision in how we run our country. Having said all that, the government who had money during the UDP time did not set out to fix the economic and social conditions that breed indiscipline, criminality, a lack of respect for other people's property and their rights and freedoms. And worst of all, we have no respect for life. Only God gives life, only God can take life. We start to get away like we could shoot down anybody, anytime, anywhere. We can't have that. We cannot have that. And the reason now is that instead of in 2018, pour money into good housing conditions, carry the level of education, and more important, skills training, teach us how to make money. Don't teach me all those things. I have my history books from St. Michael's College. I was paging through it during Easter. But they think they're useless to us. Teach us how to make money, how to make furniture from lumber, how to shovel cement, how to lay blocks, how to sew clothes, how to make things. Rascal, we can't even make basic money just to buy tacos and buy food. We have a problem. Instead of they tackle the problem, in 2018, some Hanasi come up with the idea, just lock up them boy where they get trouble. So then they look and say that under the law, we protect your freedom, they can find a loophole to attack your freedom. And so they run up people and carry them to jail. And a lot of women who are against crime, who are against the indiscipline, and totally against gang and murder and guns and violence. Because we are, our society not gone that far. We are against it. And Nuri, let me just push this part in. We are so foolish to think that a little child growing up who will not finish primary school, who will not be exposed to a whole lot of things, sports, culture, music, learning an instrument, all those things are gone. We are so stupid to think that you could every day, the watch of all things, American television, morning, noon, and night, all they teach you is nakedness. Use drugs. Give away your body. Give away your body. All the wrong things become an immoral society. Become a society where you have no respect for others. You reach a stage where God is not in your life. Then the society is so messed up, it is legal to buy a whole quart of rum and drink it and drunk and drive on the road and get in an accident, kill people, beat up your wife. A lot of wife beating is going on and the guys are getting drunk. But on the other hand, so hypocritical, a little bit of weed police, they beat you up, trample on you, carry to the station, stop you in the traffic, all kind of. This is the stupidity of the society that we are living in. So, they come up with no solution to the problems, that we are overcrowded, that we are indisciplined, that we have no skills, that we have as a society, we have no network, no cohesion with one another. When I just go to for show, go bathe in the sea, because we're from sea people, by the time I get home and don't know how to bathe the for show, I get lashing. I do everything for avoid lashing, but one snitch the other for show, I go tell my parents that I do the bathe. Only thing will save me if they don't come out there and lash me out of the water and through the street is that for sure kind of long, I will not stay at one spot. Anyhow, I've said all those things to tell you. In 2018, instead of tackling the problem or start to tackle the problem, they find a loophole in the Constitution and start wrong up people and say it comes under a state of emergency. We could pick you up and lock you up. From 2018 till now, we've had about 13 states of emergency. Getting worse and worse and worse. Instead of they carry you for 30 days, you could go for 60 days, you could go for 90 days. And the proposal, Nuri, is that they can lock you up for one year.
1 year.
That is being proposed by your government, and I have to say, it's supported by the opposition. They're so confused and so personal and so petty. They can't rise to the occasion.
Let me ask it.
Let me make the point that.
Yeah, go ahead.
That 13 different times, it's become accepted in our society that it's okay to pick up people and lock them up. Nobody wants to hear if they're innocent or they're guilty. You cannot take away a person's freedom unless you are mentally disturbed and 2 doctors say that you are needed to be confined to an institution. You cannot be put in any prison unless you go to court and they deny you bail, or you're convicted, or you plead guilty, and they can take your freedom. Messing around with people's freedom is the second worst offense by any state or state institutions in the country. A serious matter. on the laws of the country, in the criminal code, I believe, it has that we can hang people who are found guilty of murder. Then so big and bad and bold, start to hang. Since you're so big and you want to do, start to hang, see if you want help. Personally, I'm dead against the death penalty because you hang wrong people. But you want to do something, send one message. That's the message you send, because what we have put forward to the people of Belize is no solution to the social and economic problems of poor people who primarily represent all these problems we're talking about. So that is the first thing in the statement.
Yeah, I needed you to get that opportunity to lay out that sort of preamble of your thinking, because in fact it all ties into then why do we need these laws to be able to react to the problem rather than fix the problem. And I think that's what you're saying in a nutshell. But listen, here's what's amazing to me. When we look at from 2018 to 2025, we've had two different administrations. During the UDP time, we had strong voices like Karim Musa, like Anthony Sylvester and others, who were dead set against those kinds of draconian moves. We now find them justifying that these moves may be necessary in order for us to get this crime issue under control. Meaning that they have moved away from what you were laying out as the problems that has to be resolved, as opposed to just having a draconian response to those problems. But they have been converted. Now, I'm not trying to highlight on just them as persons, but to say that is it that both parties have realized that we cannot handle those boys unless we move in the way that we're moving to tackle the problem. Now, we don't want to go as far as Bukele because I don't think we've gone that far yet, but clearly
We're on the road.
we are pointing out now that we're not going through no long distance rehabilitative process to address these socioeconomic and spiritual problems that you highlighted just now, but rather we're going to get knee-jerk. You're going to jail, and if we have to keep you in jail for a period of time till you get a sense, seems to be the method that even this government is willing to adopt in dealing with. Not getting rid of SOEs, but streamlining SOEs to be very specific, which sounds very much like the protective detention process that was suggested. Preventative detention that was done by the governments before. But listen, I want you to just think on that. Yeah. Let's take the break. When we come back, we'll address that in details. Okay. Please stay tuned. We'll take our next break. Come
the banquet, find your way. Engines roar at the break of day. Volvo outboard, surf the waves. Castrol oil is what they
Welcome back. This is WUB Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes, and our guest this morning, the one and only, our brother Dickie Bradley. And Dickie, we left the last segment with my asking the question about those who are the promoters of this amendment and promoting it from a level that this is an upward move to correct the problem of the types of SOEs that we've had, the fact that there is a need for special court to deal with guns and gangs, to put in provisions that will avoid the anomaly of two judges having opposite opinion on the same matter, etc. But these are individuals who in the last administration, certainly when we go back to 2018, were highly critical of that approach, to now see them saying that that approach has become necessary. Knowing the both personalities, again, I'm not trying to focus only on the two ministers I've named or the two individuals I've named, but rather administrations after administration seem to come to the same conclusion. That, yeah, precisely, that in other words, we can't do it any differently, though we promised you when we're in opposition that we could do it differently.
Okay, well, I would want to say from the bottom of my heart that the Attorney General of Belize is a human being that is of impeccable character.
Indeed.
He's a first-class brain. He's always reading. He's very mature and responsible, and he is probably most likely the only Attorney General to be in the situation that the country now finds itself. You should see the amount of legislation that is turning up in the Gazette.
You mean lawsuits?
No, laws that are being written, proposed legislation. And he has tackled some of the systemic, structural problems facing the country with inadequate laws. He has actually come with several modern laws. Mediation rather than getting through the court 3-4 years before you could resolve matters. Alternative to sending people to prisons. A lot of people there in jail, as you would know, the minister of the prison are a big letdown, I'm sorry to say. A lot of people in jail are no business in there. He has taken the Summary Jurisdiction Act, which has to do with the magistrate courts, and the District Court Act, amalgamated and modernized them. Then things they take a lot of time, a lot of reading. We're going to have in Belize, for the first time in the history of this country, a law that will deal with bail, a bail act. So I say that because we support the Attorney General 1,000%, because we know him. He is the only one that did so many pro bono cases for the poor people of Belize.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Even as his calendar is so, I'm in court so many times, Anthony, they kill out yourself for these people, but he is committed. Talk about Southside. He is a child and a product of the Southside.
Absolutely.
He lives there. So I wanted to give that background because I need to say this both for him and Kareem. You can have a personal opinion on a matter. We all have to remember that when you are in the cabinet of the country, which is the highest decision-making authority, and the cabinet is established by the Constitution, there shall be a cabinet for Belize. You know, cabinet has come out of the blue, we got a cabinet. It's interesting one of these days when we tell Belize people how the British came up with a cabinet. When you're in the cabinet of the country, and I'll make a similar analogy, sorry if I use that word, I'll make a comparison with when you're in the House of Representatives on one party. on the side of a party. In the cabinet, and we're going to expanded cabinet.
Very big, very big.
And I'll say something about the cabinet shortly. But when you're in the cabinet, your voice is one of many. The Attorney General mainly has one voice. The Constitution says there shall be an Attorney General for Belize. The Constitution says he must be a Belizean. Not like when they do the judiciary. This government listens to the wrong voices and fall down right at the start of the race. Our judiciary is in the hands of foreigners, lone foreigners. Crazy. And we have people who have been magistrates, senior magistrates, and are kept. Some of the people who the judge our people have not even been a magistrate. They green like grass, yet not grass. Coffee like greater, yet not greater. And you know what that is.
I know.
So what's up?
Yeah.
So the point I would want to make for the Attorney General is his job is to advise the government of the day. He is the principal advisor. The Prime Minister might listen to Amon and listen to Chris Covey, who they carry on down, not up. They are taking the Prime Minister down, not up, but they take the government down as well. So in the case of the Attorney General, no. He sits in the cabinet and discussions are going on. They may say, Attorney General, can you check the legal situation with this suggestion?
So why would his name then appear on the white paper? Because in fact, the white paper is a justification for the 13th.
I'm not sure it's a justification, it's more an explanation.
It's an explanation, yes, but it is justifying its
but I will come to, all right, I'll try to come to that, but
yeah.
but let's make this point too.
Okay.
In the absence of parliamentary council, meaning the Senate should have their own lawyer and the House of Representatives should have their own lawyer from the House of Representatives parliamentary perspective. They listen to people who are not even lawyers. But the law of this country, the supreme law, says the Attorney General is the principal advisor to the government. The government is the cabinet and the public service. All ministries, all departments, all ministers, all public officers must follow the advice of the Attorney General. They must. Okay, so he does that, but he's also a Minister of Justice. He sits in the cabinet as the minister responsible for all legal and justice matters. Okay, he is one of many voices. He could sit there and says, I would need to research that, or get my officers to research it. The cabinet may say, we still want to go ahead with it. You see?
So he would have to sign on once it's a collective agreement that this is it.
Yeah, the cabinet has made a decision, you give your advice.
Yeah.
There's a big rock.
So even if you don't agree with this, that means it's a collective agreement.
The cabinet has the final say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very important, yeah?
It's important.
Those who advise must know their role. I only advise, I don't tell you if you do. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you that a portion, all right, I'll give you a good example. The white paper, the government is saying because one justice said A and the next one said B, we can't get that. That's a lie. Procedure, the proper procedure, the democratic procedure, the legal procedure is you go and appeal and make the higher courts sort that out. Is the way you carry out state of emergencies lawful, legal, and constitutional, or no? That is a matter for the courts. You don't want to wait. You know, didn't they say they would appeal? You don't want to wait for the appeal to be. It's a, no one borrow your word. It's a justification to still have state emergencies. In other words, the people who are making decisions are saying, to hell with the court, I don't even want to hear what happened and appeal. I'm going to have my state emergency and I'm going to call it by a different name.
But the Prime Minister in his interview said that that would take maybe many, many months for us to go through this appeal, and we need something that will be activated now.
Why? You want to lock up people right now?
That's a justification.
You want to lock up people right now?
We can't go through no long procedure,
no.
CCK,
Who tell the Prime Minister?
take 1, 2, 3 years. We need it now.
Who is telling the Prime Minister that is being dishonest? They can make an appeal and ask for an urgent hearing. The courts are there for that. This is a constitutional matter. You know, not take priority over anything else. You know, I want to say something. You hear me sometimes say, boy, what we do, they not a foreign judge when we got capable people in Belize. There is a foreign judge here. he comes from a country where the great Maurice Bishop emerged out of. The only man who overthrew him bogus government were in the Caribbean. And he said in court only last week, several attorneys are there both for the civil side and the criminal side, because Justice Derek Sylvester, who named like the Attorney General, Justice Derek Sylvester does both criminal matters and civil matters. Apparently there is some shortage in the civil world because he has that capability. A brilliant young man. He has said to us more than once. In fact, every time they rotate bail, every month a different judge does bail. We would have nearly want to ask, please left Justice Sylvester just to do bail for the people of this country, because the other judges, the chance to buy. So Justice Sylvester has said, what Dennis Hanuman Singh, a judge, has said, what Justice Lucas, a Belizean, has said to us, what Justice Chado Gonzalez has said to us, which is what it is in the democratic, civilized world. Justice Sylvester repeated last week what he has said previously. I was in court, I could call a whole lot of names, but you know, somebody calling this thing will not call no name. So he has said, I am prepared to hear your bail application any day. If you consider it urgent enough, I will hear it on Saturday. If you as an attorney, and all attorneys are officers of the court, as an officer of the court, you feel like there is something seriously wrong leaving a man in prison till the next day or the next week or whatever, and you make an urgent application, I hear it on Sunday. And guess what, Nuri Mohammed and those of you who watch crime regularly, we live in a world where the judge don't have to come out of his house to come to the court and all kind of thing. He gets in front of his computer. We, the lawyer, get in front of the computer. They call the prison and tell them put the person in front of their computer. And that is what we can do. So what is hard? When you put somebody in jail who not deserve to be in jail, you are doing a great disservice. The country is becoming like the criminals. You are breaking the law. A man is entitled to his freedom. You can only lose your freedom for compelling reasons, like the issue that was on the media this week. A rapist, a known rapist, get in our house, punch down an old man, push down an old lady and look for rape when 11-year-old. And he has been before the courts in a similar situation where they try rape him. No, he not come back out of prison. One, he can't get bail because he offend while he on bail. And two, if he goes to, and why it take so long to have a trial like that? What kind of investigation you need? What kind of investigation you need? Within a month or two, you can't deal with that. So I make those observations, and I want to publicly, on behalf of the Association of 28 Attorneys, say thank you very much, Judge Sylvester. We appreciate that kind of statement, because it is the law. It was the law here. It has always been the law until these foreigners come and they use some stupid explanation that you have to show special reason. And special reason. I don't want to go into the law. Let's go back to this problem. In the case of, you call his name, and he's a minister, he's in the public domain. In the case of Minister Karim Musa, who is on record as condemning state of emergency and is now pushing the 13th Amendment, pushing for the 13th Amendment, which one is going to lock you up for 12 months, and not only that, it could be any time within the 12 months, you know. And the police are the ones who decide who get locked up. In fact, the cabinet and the ministers don't want to be involved. They said that the National Security Council will advise the Governor General to have state of emergency because they know the kickback where they come. I'm going to say something and get myself and my family into trouble, but make I tell you as a coffee from outside. If any police or any government pass any law and lock me up for any 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, then dead. I tell you, because this is an organized, legalized chance upon the poor people of the country. You break the law, try you and put you in prison. The gang law give up to 10 years, 15 years, then could go to jail, you know. You talk about bringing some hocus pocus court whenever work nowhere else but one gang court and one gun court. Man, you have lots of magistrates, you have lots of people who are retired magistrates who are very experienced, very fair-minded and will apply the law. You don't need to go mess with the Constitution, because once you put wrong thing in there, how do you get it out?
You have to go through a whole process to remove
So in the case of Kareem, he has fallen down. You want to support that? You support that when the government chants people in 2018 and 2020 and 2021 and 22, they can't go to court, so that a court could say, no, your constitutional right was not violated. You are not entitled to compensation or redress. Or yes, that is what the courts are there for. There are 3 branches of government in this nation. That is the law. That is the supreme law. The executive branch, which is the cabinet, and to some extent the public service. They're very important, because none of them money in a cabinet run the country, they're the public officers. And I'm glad that both the government, thank you Prime Minister, that they have agreed to settle this money problem.
Indeed,
no?
indeed.
So you have the cabinet.
Respect, Cordell.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
You have the law-making organization. Big disappointment, all into the rubber stamp laws, but they do no oversight. Oversight of the executive is an important part of accountability and transparency. And since you and I are here saying big respect Cordell and big respect Johnny and the other members of the cabinet, we have. I'll give big credit, and I'll tell people something. The Parliament, which is the highest body in the country, the National Assembly, then go there and they go on like Sisi and Gal and all kind of thing, and so it still remains the highest body in the country. It is required to set up standing committees whenever election is over and a government has been formed. You appoint people to the various committees. All portfolios, every portfolio a minister have, every ministry department, there is a committee that looks over and is responsible for that committee. So that, like the United States of America, those committees can hold public hearings and send for people to come and explain what happened. And let me tell you how bad the country has fallen. Recently it came to the attention of the citizens of this country that $1 million of their money was stolen from the Sports Council. $1 million is stolen from the Sports Council. We can't have our children over in Wesley College and Gwen Liz ride bicycle competition against the other schools them and so on, because they don't have no money for prize, because they can't organize it at the stadium. By the way, we have a so-called national stadium. The Cycling Association, which will be celebrating 100 years in 2028. We have had this major spectacular one-day event 100 years, in 3 years' time. We'll have 100 years that we have it. So, it requires a lot of discussion and promotion and so on. But my point is, no money no there for the athletes. No money no there for all our children from Southside who are under pressure from American television.
back. This is WUB. Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday morning and we'll open the phone. This is WUB. Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. It's a Thursday morning and we'll open the phone lines now.
I tell you, I want to talk about Monish, but you don't deal with that. You don't want to
You're the big up Miss Hyde. Yeah.
Well,
listen, we promise that we'll open the phone line. So the number here is 280-5848. If you got a question and you could put it, or even a statement, you could put it at this time.
All right, while you're waiting, I wanted to say this.
Yeah.
The Association of Defense Attorneys, some 20-odd lawyers who practice regularly and know.
Who's the head of that?
It's like
it's a group.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to call some names, but you know when you call names. But the point is that there exists a group who have a chat group, who are in contact with each other, and who think that things like this is a matter they should say something about.
Well, what about the bar? Shouldn't the bar?
Bar association is, for me, I'm not surprised. Bar association doesn't say a word. This is an attack
against. You're joking, man. These are officers of the court.
This 13th Amendment.
They see what's going on and they don't say nothing.
Not a word.
Wow.
That's frightening.
That is frightening.
So listen. In contrast to that, look at this now. Senator Janelle Chanona.
Yes, indeed. I saw her.
She appeared in front of the parliamentary subcommittee or committee which is required to look to change any of the fundamental matters in the Constitution. The government must consult the citizens, you know. And they have 90 days. They cannot rush and pass the law like when they do with other law. So Senator Chanona appeared in front of that committee and supported the position that the lawyers have taken and said her organization, which is the Belize network of NGOs, does not support the 13th Amendment. Big respect, John Odom. Big respect. I'm sorry, big respect, Mom.
Welcome, Colin.
Yes, greetings once again, Brother Nuri. Salam alaikum.
Yes, sir. Walaikum salam.
My respects to Brother Bradley. I just have one curiosity that I wanted to many times that I see on the air. I had previous convictions in the 80s, but I realized that up to 2020, I still appear as a criminal. So in my opinion, if you commit different felonies or different, violate the law in many different times throughout the years, you could be considered a criminal. But since 1987 to 2020, we're in 2025, and my record is still a criminal. I don't know what can you tell me on your experience, Bradley?
You are able to share with us what crime is on your record? a
Yeah.
robbery, a theft,
It was
traffic.
grievous harm.
What?
Grievous harm.
Sorry, Nuri, what?
Grievous harm.
Oh, grievous harm. Oh, that's a serious offense.
Yeah.
There is a law that can be made available to you so you could look on the long list of things to see when you could have your record expunged. For minor things, no problem. For more than just minor, there is a period. And for major ones, some of them are not even listed. In other words, if you rape somebody, they don't take that off of your record. So there is a law, sir, that can be made available, and I could give a copy to Mr. Nuri, and you could maybe call back next week and he could share it with you so you could check it yourself, no?
Yeah.
This is another matter we give big respect. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, you got it. You the call.
Oh, I heard you mention names of a few of the magistrates, but I say no call no name. But one of the names you mentioned was the one that, in my opinion, he was biased in favor of the person that have committed the grievous harm.
Okay, but no call no name though.
He was an Indian
All right,
merchant,
yeah.
and I noticed when I went to the court at that time was upstairs at the Patslow building.
Yes.
The judge didn't have nothing to say to me. All he had to say to me, blah, 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 grievous harm,
Yeah.
$100 and $5 at the court, done, right there.
Okay.
They don't want to hear nothing from me. Even at police station, they don't
Yeah.
want to hear nothing from me. They just surrounded the Indian man.
We got it,
and that
man.
time like a king.
I think
but
we
me,
got
they
it.
throw me in his house immediately.
All right,
Okay.
brother. We got
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
man, thanks.
All right, here's
Yeah,
another.
Nuri, the other thing I want to squeeze in.
Welcome, caller.
Salam alaikum, brother Nuri.
Wa alaikum assalam, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good.
The side pipe speaking to you, sir. Said.
Oh, yes, brother Said.
How are you, sir? I've been listening to you and Mr. Bradley, and thanks to Mr. Bradley. I'm free from my case, and I would really appreciate to work with you guys to uplift us as black people to stop the killing, number one, of ourselves and respect of black women, and uplift our lives, because I was one that comes from the dirt, from the mud. You is the one, Mr. Nuri, that introduced me to civilization, and make I get to know about the Nation of Islam, and thanks to be to Honorable Louis Farrakhan that I heard for his teaching, and that make I be super productive now.
Excellent.
And really would I love to work with my people, especially the guys in prison.
All right.
To help them, because I once was like them.
Yeah.
And now man, thanks be to Allah, Mr. Nuri.
All right. Okay.
Super proud of myself, sir.
All right, my brother.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. You don't want to ask no question of the attorney?
No, it's all right.
You good?
He fall under the hymn, I once was lost, but now I'm found.
Yes.
I was
Yeah,
blind, but
many
now
like
I
that.
see.
Many like that.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I wanted to squeeze
Yeah.
in the marijuana laws in Belize. One of the stupidest law in the whole world,
Yes.
that you are entitled to have in your possession up to 10 grams. You can't smoke in a public, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can have 10 grams, but you can't grow the weed.
Yeah.
You can't go buy the weed.
Yeah.
Nobody can sell you the weed. All those things are illegal. What I'm fighting against is that the old law that deals with drugs is saying if you have more than 60 grams of weed, you're drug trafficking. If you're found, you can spend 3 years in prison, and you still have to pay a money fine of $10,000. 200 fine and confined.
Can vote.
For 60 grams of weed, Nuri, in a 2025, when all over the world, nobody afraid for weed anymore. And not true weed make you get crazy. People think I smoke. Listen, I don't smoke cigarette, I don't smoke weed. I got one vice and I can't mention it on the television. And I don't drink rum. How rum legal and weed illegal?
Yeah.
But it is really
Even
stupid.
Mr. Mai brings up the fact
Oh,
that
yes,
rum
man.
is a destruction
To
to
the families.
Yeah, indeed.
A minister of government is on the national television saying that it is breaking up a lot of families, which we all know, but they don't do nothing about it because all they drink. You see that like Animal Farm. No animal shall drink alcohol. That was their
Except-
constitution.
Yes,
And when the pig, they find the rum in Farmer Jones' house and start to lash out and get trouble, when they can check, they put no animal shall drink alcohol, come
Hello?
up to excess.
Welcome,
Can I
sir.
get on?
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
I would like to know where the JP Association stand on this 13th Amendment. That's what I would like to know. Maybe Mr.
Very
Prime
good
could
question.
help me there. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Very good question, sir. The Justice of the Peace Association, the public one who were not silent in the face of this attack against our freedom, which are guaranteed in the Constitution. Now, Nuri, I will share a personal opinion, because I know a little bit of law. If the 13th Amendment is taken to court, if it is challenged, chances are it will be struck down. You don't have to wait till it passes to challenge it. Know that can't go into the Constitution. The Constitution is a lofty document with high ideals and principles that are so important to us. You can't put in the Constitution that you could lock up people.
So
there's nowhere in the Constitution.
Is that group of 20-odd lawyers thinking about advancing a case before?
That discussion is up, but I would want to say that the last one that was dealt with in Jamaica, in which again the court over there, a higher court than the Supreme Court, agreed with the Supreme Court in Jamaica that the way they do state of emergencies is unlawful. This time around, the opposition, the PNP, the party of the great Michael Manley. You had met Michael in your job?
No, just at a distance with my friendship with Bert Tucker.
But I mean, PJ Patterson, a lot of people comes out of that party.
Yeah.
It is the opposition party that challenged this matter of continuing to use state of emergency.
So that if we had a functional opposition, they in fact could advance a court case on this matter before it is even
come together.
passed.
Yes, of course. That's what I'm calling for. I'm calling for several groups in the society to come together as one and challenge the matter, while at the same time educate the citizens of Belize that to put in your constitution, which guarantees you your freedom, to put in there that police could pick you up and lock you up for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7, all the way to 12 months. You don't put anything in a constitution. Why they not pass on regular law? They don't have one law that deal with gangs. Why not have a regular law? Because if they dare put that in a regular law, it will be struck down by the courts because it's unconstitutional. So they want to take something and to put it into the
Constitution.
Yes.
Therefore you can't.
Yes.
Well, listen, what is puzzling, and we have to come to the end of the show, and that's why most of the time we always talk about you coming back a second time.
I'll be back in September for the celebrations.
Before that time, it's puzzling that we are not hearing from, and by the way,
sad.
After the last time you were here is when we started the conversation on the 13th Amendment. I immediately asked Minister Musa and Attorney General Honorable Anthony Sylvester to come on the show. I did get a response saying that this is not the right time. You know, I think the minister was traveling, etc., etc. But we still want them to come on the show. Why? Because there's not one side to a story. And if they have a government position to justify, in fact, there is a white paper out there.
Yeah.
You owe it to the listeners and viewers at CREM and the WUB to come and to defend your position, especially when you have an attorney like Dickie Bradley that is poking holes, justifiably so, in the framework of this 13th Amendment. You're doing it second time, because your first time you came here, it was exactly the same thing. It hasn't changed.
No.
But we haven't had anybody from the government side to come and say, listen, Dickie is way off.
Yeah,
this
wrong.
is our justification
I would
for
love
this
to be
thing.
educated
And
on
I'm
the
saying
matter.
it publicly again. Minister,
Okay.
we've invited you and we've asked you to come and to be a part of this conversation. We've asked the Attorney General to be here, and I hope that you will give us a favorable answer soon.
Okay, they probably would want to, they would prefer to go on a television where they would not be so
challenged, but
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
You see,
But let
it's
me mention
better, and
this
we're not
also.
rude
No,
here.
yeah.
Are we? I mean, we don't
but
come out
listen,
and like we're crazy.
you have to accept that CREM is not a favored television
But we
station.
do come with you with respect.
Yeah, but you know.
All right.
But let me
Yes,
mention that
we have to take this as the last call. Welcome caller. Yes, caller.
They're not ready.
Yeah,
They're not
caller.
ready.
You hello?
They're not ready.
Yeah, you know the hear me? All right, you go ahead, sir.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Bradley.
Yeah, morning.
Morning, Mr. Morning.
Morning, sir.
All right, yeah. All right, look here. I enjoy the show with Mr. Bradley like usual. But I'm going to have to come back before the September, after the September.
I don't think it'll take so long, man. I almost think that what the management of the station should do is give Mr. Bradley his own show. We may try to do that for our Wednesday night legal show.
You see, Mr. Bradley have that knowledge.
Yes, man, and he got the communication skills.
Listen, man, we got that knowledge to teach the people the proper way of understanding.
Yes,
That's
sir.
why the people just continue, listen, understand, understand that you know to deal with people who put in law when it makes no sense. But because they have the people influence and the people they were there, they left it there, they the whole time we saw. I say this government they change that, take that out of the constitution and put the right things there to serve the people. Good morning to you guys.
All right. Thank you, brother.
I want to go back. I want to go back, push your head back. Yeah, man.
Can't show a word.
You true?
Yeah, you tell me that time if you go to Baba. I wanted to quickly mention this. There has been a most unfortunate incident on the island of Kikaka where a young man was stabbed fatally, lost his life. The general view is that the police are responsible. 2 off-duty police are on camera in a brawl with citizens when all they needed to do was to call their station and make backup come before the situation escalated. Now, the police, the new commissioner has done a good thing. He has an assistant superintendent of police, highly trained and very intelligent, as the spokesperson for the police department. The police department, they're in a mess, you know, my boy. But not like all the things in Belize, like the election and boundaries where sit back and watch how they bribe people and so on, with campaign financing law when they're available, with whistleblowers law when they're available, with customs that could easily bring in $100 million extra every year. They just abandoning things. In fact, you know, I wanted to mention something. Recently, they print and put on the television the name of people who owe taxes. One group organization owe $8 million in taxes. Another one owe $2 million in taxes. I'm proud of Munnings for speaking out to point out how they discriminate against him and so on. But my point is this. The tax department is under the Ministry of Finance, Financial Secretary, Deputy Financial Secretary, and so on. There's no oversight. Every month or every 3 months, a report should be made. These people owe the taxes. We are going to take them to court. We will report the outcome. There is no oversight in the country of Belize. This is why we are where we are. This is why a police officer can stab a young man in the presence of many witnesses and the spokesperson can't even admit. You could see how she's trying to change gears because they want her to put out the official position instead of what is the actual position. Listen, man. In a big organization like 2,000 odd police, there are bound to be rogue police officers. There are bound to be officers who will get carried. You said the minister they talked about wrong. The 2 officers, they were under the influence of alcohol, allegedly. A person is killed and you can't even say that one of the officers had the knife. Everybody's saying with the knife.
Yeah.
It's up on camera with the knife.
And they shouldn't put that police because she's doing an excellent
job. They
should not put her under pressure.
That ASP, you should ask for something more befitting your intelligence because they won't have you the life of the department.
She's doing an excellent job, man. She's, articulate.
You could see how the change gas. Nuri, you know that Emma Boyton is still alive and kicking right in Belama, Belize City. Yes, man. Good morning, Miss Emma.
Yes.
And then Joe Cowie. One of these days, if you can find the time, we need to tap into Joe Cowie's
look, wait. Mr. Cowie knows how many times I have asked him.
You have? Well, I will ask him.
Over and over.
When Joe contact for the public service to us, because the public service is badly in need of serious reform.
Yes.
You realize that if listen, every week, all over the public service. People are frauding, embezzling, stealing public money, no oversight, no control. Because the system has ballooned to where it has overwhelmed the officers and the system we have in place.
Yeah. Where is the checks
Why
and balances? Where
the
is
situation in Belize is dread.
And I sent you that thing about the Integrity Commission in Jamaica.
Right,
that's finally brought forward some cases, and there are lawmakers now that are threatened to go to jail.
Yeah.
Because the Integrity Commission has been activated and is pointing out who has been getting money under the table, basically.
But I think my lecturer Trevor Monroe is the head of that that thing there.
Yes.
I wanted to mention one other matter. Celine, the chair lady and Kikaka, she is showing us the way. We are not getting anywhere with the PUP when they're in government, and we're not getting anywhere with the UDP when they're in government.
I might say Nancy Marin likewise and her group.
Oh yeah, she had some footage. She had some footage of people who go collect.
Great signs, great signs.
Then they try, but we need something bigger.
Yeah.
But big respect, Celine. We're proud of you. You have shown that the people in Kikaka, like the people in the rest of Belize, they're going to reach a stage where they realize the two political parties are not taking the country forward.
Do you see that the same situation recently happened in New York?
With Mamdani?
Mamdani is, of course,
He
Democrat.
He get deported.
Yeah.
A socialist in New York
Yes.
has won the nomination for the Democratic Party.
Right.
Beat out one
But
giant
did
like...
not come with the support of the established
Democratic
Democratic Party,
no Democratic
and
Party.
definitely the Republican Party. So that my point is, especially when our opposition was going through the changes that they were going through,
we need a third party.
there are great minds. There's a Dickie Bradley. There's several other individuals that I can tell you about that if there is a need to come forward, and I don't have anything against any of those in the UDP party or the PUP party. I'm simply saying, when will we come to the point where again we see the evolution of another alternative? It's not as though we never had it. That's what Dean Lindo and him was all about, in evolving out of the NIP.
Well, it wasn't a third party.
No, my point
are played out.
My point is that there is a need for another dispensation, that we have to stay within. And even if you want to evolve out of the UDP as presently is, there are a lot of individuals there that are still silent. But I don't want to upset that cart,
but
because it does appear as if they're trying to rectify their situation, but we need a third alternative.
I'm glad you're going to Mamdani position. The situation is this, and I stand corrected by those who know more than myself. When I was in high school, I am a next door neighbor to Lionel Del Valle, who had gone to university.
Yes.
In those days, few people go to university.
Yes.
We have our hero, Evan Exide. When he come back, the system get blown.
Yes.
Hurricane force.
Yeah.
My point is, Lionel Del Valle, Evan Exide, Asad Schumann, Said Musa, and I could go on with a list of persons. There were not just, there were many, including females. There were women too.
Yes.
By the way, is Sandra Coe still calling?
She hasn't called for a while.
Okay, she's a visionary. We need to tap into her vast knowledge.
I don't think we have respected her as a country.
No, the community don't appreciate her.
We don't.
But never mind.
And that's really unfortunate because, sure, we can say that a prophet is not respected in their own country. And we could use those kinds of accolades.
If it was just not respected, it wouldn't be bad, but they are oppressed and oppressed as well.
Yeah. Those persons should be elevated.
It's not easy, but what I'm trying to say is that, so where are the Evanex Heights? Where are all these people who go to university and come back and all they want to drive SUV and my house have to be a certain kind of, you show off up themselves like if you're not just passing through. You're just passing through, you're not up on the earth and short while and you're gone. You can't carry none of it. You can't carry your SUV. I can't fit in at the Lee grave space. But my point is that, come on, you not ask everybody come public because yes, you have your privacy, you have your children, your family. You want to protect them from the ignoramus then who always hate and want to say things which are negative. But we cannot continue. The only reason that Nuri could drag me out of my house and so is because I feel bad just to know that something, in my opinion, I could be wrong. In my opinion, some things are just not right. The election and boundaries in this country is a fraud.
Yeah.
It perpetuates dishonesty.
Yeah.
And it is a danger to us because people are now buying elections.
Yeah.
And if you're poor, listen, full caucus bag can't turn on and tell empty caucus bag, take heart.
Exactly.
Exactly.
I feel the same frustration as you do, particularly when you think about the amount of retired public officers who have integrity, who have skill sets that they've just retired with. Nobody pulls them together and say, we want to get an opinion from you on these matters. For example, Nemo. We have watched just the recent flood that has taken place. And all the excuses that were being done about why we didn't get there first and all of those. We had a Nemo that was functioning very, very well before, that got all kinds of support and recognition from around the region. Is there a way that we are taking that mind, that skill set from the previous administration of Nemo and saying, here you are as advisors to this present court? No, it's almost like we start all over again from scratch.
The public service is
That's
so
a big
important.
mistake.
It is. That's why I said that please find time for Joe Cowie. Joseph Cowie, no, but he's Hussein Cowie. Please, man, come and share your views on the public service with us, because when the public service goes down, the nation of belief goes down. It is not 21 men in cabinet or whatever and so that run the country. They make policies and they assist in promoting the laws then to the House, but it is the public officers every day who carry the service to the public. And it is now the most frustrating thing to deal with the public service. And then, like everything else within the public service now, they have seen so much corruption, so much easy money passing around the place. They are now tempted and giving into the temptation to get involved in the corruption.
And many are demoralized because they see things going on around them, and they're not seeing the authorities, that the check and balances are not there, and that who you know, you're to get away with. Anyway, we're getting the signal about our time. So let me get some closing comments from you, my brother.
Well, I would want to say basically that I saw recently this awesome man that ruled the music world. Michael Jackson have one video, I think he probably did it in Brazil, where he's on the street and the Brazil music bands are playing. All I want to say is that they don't really care about us. On the south side, on the depot, on our own.
Yeah.
You
remember there was a talk about making, and you and I discussed this about 20 years ago. In fact, it was your words, about making the south side a special area. This was during
development zone.
During the UDP time, all right? We've come along and we've heard the Prime Minister, this current Prime Minister, utter it, that there's thought being given to making the south side a special economic zone. But no actual movement of encouragement in that area. Could you imagine how people would feel living on the south side and hearing that we are going to start looking very specifically as a project? We're going to promote this project as to exactly how we're going to make this an economic zone. We can do it.
Yes.
You know,
in fact, I looked at a picture of the cabinet. It's a monk of brain power there in the cabinet.
Man,
I'm told by my wife that Francis Fonseca was on the television, I think this week right here and so. A brilliant man that he's trained in economics. He's gone to 2 universities. He's highly trained. And he's committed.
And he and Dr. Zabani are the ones that were talking about making this. And this guy has studies in sustainability. But the point I'm making, and government don't like you to talk to them in those direct kind of ways, but the reality is they overlook a very important area that needs to get attention, man. Stop creating laws that we go after them boy,
Negative
rather
lies,
than
negative
creating
lies, yeah.
a structure of encouragement to say we go and go address them problems here in a scientific way. Yeah, and take 10, 15 years, but
to
really start with
Yeah.
this situation, as opposed to we look to find creative ways for lock on the rat it down. We got to change that mindset and pump some encouragement into people who feel disadvantaged and disenfranchised. Anyway, my brother.
You have covered it.
Yeah,
I did say not yet.
Yeah, we will bring you back before September, Carla, and make sure
I was
that
thinking
we
more
able-
like December, Christmas, here comes Santa Claus.